Today's video is the corruption of the textbook industry, and I think this is one video nobody can disagree with me on. Students hate textbooks because they have to spend money on them and they're pricey, and educators hate textbooks because they don't get to educate students with resources that actually work and are effective. They simply just have to use textbooks they don't like due to the corruption of the industry. Now in this video, we're going to be primarily focusing on The End of Ignorance by John Mighton. And this guy is a Canadian math educator. And the book is primarily about math education. So if you're not super interested in math education in Canada, then I would not recommend buying the book. That is what the vast majority of it is about, and the JUMP program. Now, if you've ever watched any videos about the problems with education on the internet, it's almost always going to be the same story. The factory model is bad. Down with the factory model, up with the new constructivist model. All of the problems in the world can be solved by eliminating the factory model and switching to the constructivist model. This book takes on a kind of a different approach. The educator is definitely not a conservative, but he's saying there's clearly some good aspects from the factory model, and we should keep the good aspects. We should keep which things work. Now, according to John Mighton, he says he has hundreds of educators supporting his JUMP program. They say it's much better at teaching mathematics. The scores are higher, the teachers are less frustrated, etc., etc. The students learn much easier. And he's not allowed to use it because of the textbook industry and the corruption of the textbook industry. So this seems awfully odd. If you have a math educator with hundreds and hundreds of other math educators supporting this resource, shouldn't it be pretty easily approved in the Authorized resource database? The answer is, of course, no. The government claims on their website that they give teachers a large variety of resources to choose from. This is fictitious. So, for example, if you look at social studies and you go on the Authorized resource database, this is a database of all the books teachers are allowed to teach with. You're going to notice something interesting. For every single year of education, with the exception of grade 6, teachers only have one choice of book to use. In grade 6, they have the overwhelming number of 2. The exception to this is language arts. In language arts, teachers are actually given quite a few books they can have students read. But language arts is fiction. It doesn't matter. So what exactly is going on behind the scenes? This is where John Mighton provides some very good insight in his book. So apparently in Canada, every person who approves which textbooks can and cannot be used in schools works for a major textbook company. It is the largest conflict of interest ever possible. And it just so happens that they are coincidentally approving the textbooks which are from the company they work for. This dates back quite a bit further. Richard Feynman, and anybody who's ever studied physics knows who Richard Feynman is. He's sort of the big cheese in physics these days. One of the most prominent intellectuals in the world. And he was on a panel in California which was approving textbooks. And everybody was sending their textbooks in for the judges to approve. And at some point he said, this panel doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem like they're really reading the textbooks. And at one point he noticed that the companies forgot to mail one of the textbooks in. And everybody on the panel still gave that textbook an approval stamp. So they couldn't have even read one sentence in the book, and they still gave it a stamp of approval. So this gives you a pretty good indication of how corrupt the panels are. This also goes to show how corrupt the government and education system are. If you have one of the most prominent intellectuals in the world saying this system is completely broken, I would think that they would be taken pretty seriously, especially if they're from within the system. So what do you think? Do you think that the textbook industry is corrupt? If you like this video, share it, subscribe. I'm gonna have quite a few more videos coming.